What's up, fellas? So today the topic is, why these Part 147 schools believe that we are, prep schools believe that we're scammers. They don't truly understand that we're not here to complete. I mean, it would be impossible to teach somebody aircraft ins and outs of it in 2 weeks. And not even 2 years you can teach that because you have to actually work on aircraft, learn a lot about the aircraft, apply yourself to learning different parts of it. Despite that, like in my experience, I wanted to learn electrical stuff, and in the military, for the most part of it is highly specialized, and they don't like us crew chiefs kind of wandering off to different uh, sectors of the aircraft, right? Like learning electrical stuff. So I think that learning on aircraft is going to be a continuing thing, that you're not going to get everything. Right? Even old heads need to understand this part is that you get a new person coming out of a school, you're not getting a whole complete aircraft mechanic. And I always see it on online that, oh man, this we get people from this school is so garbage. Um, I think learning is more, it's a long term thing. I think it's forever. For me, I'm always going to be learning, forever learning something. It's always something I'm going to be learning. It, you see the greats always learning different moves or different techniques, learning more about the technical stuff and how they can improve their skills. And same thing in aircraft mechanic. It's You're gonna learn something new the more you do something, or the more you learn from somebody else. Because it doesn't matter if it's somebody that's lazy and they're doing something pretty cool you find out to be a little more efficient, or it's somebody that's super efficient all the time and learning from their habits and learning from their skills too. So you can learn from everywhere. And um, but going back to these Part 147 schools, and I get it. A lot of it is about the money, even though that they're non-profits, but it takes away from their resources, right? And if they don't have people who are sitting their butts into class, they're gonna take away. They're gonna lose money, right? Same thing as unions. Unions, if you do their job, for example, instead of being more efficient, you're gonna take away manpower. You're gonna take away the reason why they have jobs. So unfortunately, that's how the game is. And Part 147 schools, um, I'm not saying they're bad, but I think there's also a need for prep schools for especially guys who meet you know the requirements to get your 8610-2. These guys come with experience. I know guys in the military, and some of the trash talk I get from AMPs who were never in the military. Their only argument is that, okay, these guys are highly specialized, and it's true. I'm not disagreeing with that part. The disagreement is that these guys are gonna learn. They're gonna figure something out. It doesn't take them long to learn about electrical stuff, even though that is one of their weak areas, right? Um, it took me a little bit to learn about electrical stuff fully, the fundamentals of it, but it took me, a couple of days to figure it out. And I understood. Then I later understood the fundamental parts of electrical, and it doesn't take me long. It doesn't take me more than a Google search on how to use a multimeter. So people act like these guys don't learn right away, and you know, I think guys with the experience pick up things pretty quick, and um, and I think for the most part for the military guys, it's true is that they pick it up pretty fast. You teach them about how to use a multimeter, they're gonna learn that pretty quick that day. And then learn more about fundamentals. I taught guys in a 2 3 days about fundamentals of electronics, and the most part they passed and they understand it. And we got great instructors who teach us stuff. So um, what guys are getting in the prep school is they already come with the experience. And the other day I saw some guy talking about that prep schools are scammers. And I knew that he was kind of targeting me, the but never talked about what is scammers, what was scammy about it. Guys are, in the military, they come with the experience. FAA says, hey, if you come with 30 months of practical experience, you can go test. You know, why not help them prep a little bit for the test? Hence, prep schools. I don't get it. The FAA says if you as an individual can prove that you have 30 months of experience, then you can go test. Now, like, I can't think of another reason why FAA would say that. This huge institution, bureaucratic. I'm sorry. Institutions say that, hey, if you have 30 months of experience, you can go test. Just get your authorization and go test. And to me, what that says is, hey, these guys come with experience, whether it's highly specialized or things that they need to learn on. And I think every mechanic, whether they're 50 years old or 25 years old, there's some learning to do. Especially with new technology coming out, new methods coming out, more efficient methods coming out. Some of these old heads, I wouldn't, disregard what they say. I would learn a lot from them. But I also wouldn't disregard a new college student or a guy that's a year or two in. I can learn from them. So it's there's nothing scammy about prep schools, and there's nothing scammy, or I'm not saying it's much better if you get, go to 2 year school. It's just, to me, it's a preference. Well, if it depends on the student, if he wants to learn more about aviation and its fundamentals, um, go to a 2 year school. If it's about, hey, I just want to get in, get out, get to work. That's it. I got 2 weeks. I need to get this job right away. And that's usually the case. Their supervision it's not like we are going around this, we're breaking the law. You do require to pass these exams. And so I don't know what's scammy about it. I don't know, where this conversation is about, where school prep schools are scammy, especially coming from Texas or Arizona. No, these guys will give you the knowledge that you need to know to pass. Will give you the knowledge for these these concepts. We listen to the advice from the guys from instruct who the DMEs. We learn from students. We get the feedback from our students, and yeah, it's a lot of studying, but they knock it out, right? Um, they, and I get it. It's all about, you know, it's a lot of it's about money, taking resources from another, jealousy about like we're trying to put them out of business, but we work on a whole completely different type of people. People want fast. They don't want 4 weeks. They don't want 6 weeks. They don't want 8 weeks. They want 2 weeks, get in and get out and move on. The FAA allows it. I mean, shoot. if somebody can get their A&P prep, study for a couple of days, and go test, then that's allowed. That should be allowed, and it is allowed. As long as you get those forms to test, it is allowed, right? I bet you nobody that comes out of college, or it's very rare that somebody comes out of college, out of a Part 147 school or a prep school, or getting into the airlines or just getting into civilian aircraft, is gonna know everything. It's gonna be rare. Now, learning the concepts is gonna help you, yeah. And for the most part, military or 147 school guys, they're gonna know the concepts. They got some foundation to them, and that's good. But Part 147, for the most part, in my experience and having a prep school for the last 6 years, um, they don't like us very much. I've gone to some of these conferences, and they kind of look down on us. And I don't know if it's, to me, I only think that they believe that we are taking away students, and I guess in a way they are, but also they don't have a program where they can get in and get out in 2 weeks. And I try to push that onto them, and they don't like it. You know, I don't know what the reasons are. Maybe they want more time. I've seen this before where they want uh, more time with the students so they can charge the government more money. And for me, having this prep school is if there was a school for me, I just to hey, just give me the knowledge that I need just to pass these exams. And that's it. I already come with 10, 15 years experience. I can figure stuff out. I can get into the books of whatever airframe or aircraft system that I'm going to be working on, and I'll get into the books about that. Not the broad stuff. And to me, it's like when I worked on GE CF-34s, I wanted to know about those aircraft. Give me the GE book to this specific engine, and I'll learn everything about it in a couple of weeks. The theory of operation, the parts that are important, the most common things that breaks, the most common things that require troubleshooting, things that are more specific to my job. Because once you get your A&P and you learn about A&P stuff, it's very broad. It goes from piston engines to jet engines. So it's very broad. And um, on the outside, all they care is about the A&P. They'll train. You're gonna go to Gen Fam classes, and there's people out there selling Gen Fam classes. Cool. Get a head start on it. But these companies, they're gonna, especially airlines, they're gonna want you to take you to Airbus class Gen Fam. They're gonna take you to Boeing Gen Fam. You know, so the main focus at these prep schools is to get you to pass. That's it. That's all. At least in my school, you already have when you come in, you already have experience for the most part, right? Do you know? Are you the shit hot? Some guys are, and some guys are very smart. They catch on very quick, a lot quicker than me, and they catch on. They get taught one time, two times, and then they got it. I've seen guys who surprised me that they learned how to do something, the first time, and they're out there shooting rivets, bucking rivets. On a second rivet, they're good. Not the best, but they're good. They're good enough to pass the exams, right? And so I don't know where this animosity comes from for prep schools, but that's who we're serving. We're not scammers. I promise you that. Our mission, our to keep the company going, is to make sure that you pass these exams. That's how we make money, because you know John over here needs to pass the exam, and he's gonna go tell his friend, "Hey, I passed my exam with military maintainers, or I passed my exam with X, Y, and Z company." And then those guys come to our class and they'll tell their friends. So it just keeps multiplying. And that's how we earn our business, and we got to be good at it. If you're gonna stay around, we gotta be good at that business. Is helping you what's the most efficient way to get you to pass, fastest, and lowest price. If we can accomplish all those, we can help out a majority of the military guys going in and out if that's the path they want to take. Because a lot of them, they only have between a week to 2 weeks to being sitting their butt in class, knock it out, crush it, or I'm sorry, cram it, crush it, and then go back. And then, yeah, there's skill bridge stuff, but they're gonna learn, on the floor. So yeah, there's some kind of tension between 147 schools. They're gonna say, oh well, we're certified and we got certified instructors. I was like, okay, cool. But I got a cool, funny ass crew chief who can say that he passed a prep school, crammed it, passed it. This is how he did it, and multiply that to other people who can, repeat that success. And that's what we do. And so that way you can get your certification, go work for Lockheed, go work for Southwest, and go work for making that six-figure income. They're not gonna ask you how were your grades in school. They're not gonna ask that. It's like what they care about is your experience. They're gonna understand that you don't have all the experience. You're gonna be easily trained. If you be coachable, that's how you become successful. Always continue to learn more about your aircraft, more about your airframe systems, and you're gonna be good. You're gonna be Gucci on the, being an A&P mechanic or just being a technician. So continue to learn. Lean towards what's coming out in the future, like electronics. I'm not selling that stuff, so I'm not saying anything, but this is what I get from director of maintenance. This is what I get from managers that, hey, we want you to learn something, some foundation for electronics, and that's important because more of these aircraft are going to be equipped with this stuff. So learn it. Get right now there's a shortage, but if you're trying to get a job at Southwest or American Airlines or any of these big airlines, there's competition for it. So make sure you sharpen your sword to be ready for working for the competition with other technicians to obtain that job. So that's all I got. Uh, uh, if you have any questions about how to get your A&P, reach out to me, DM me, message me, comment, so that way we can jump on the video chat just like this and get you started on your A&P process. All right. Thank you very much. Have a good night.